Good morning, it's Rebecca. Messier the better. Sometimes in the mess, it sucks. I know, been there, done that, done my work on the other side of the couch, not as a therapist, but obviously as a client. And I'll say this, the mess sucks. There's absolutely no other word for it except for it is horrible, awful, no good, very bad. But I'm here to offer hope. And I think hope is one thing that we miss a lot in our conceptualization of our life. If we look at all the things that are not going well, we miss all the things that could go well and actually are already leading you to something better. And so we're going to talk today about a false bottom. We're going to talk today about how you get past that false bottom and how you start really looking at what's going on in your life and why it is happening. If you understand why it's happening, then it becomes very, very easy as you switch gears and start choosing more for you. And as you do this, this is a fundamental move towards empowerment of yourself. Rather than being bogged down to what's happened to you or what choices you've made that haven't worked out, maybe your failures, maybe things that you think have not led you to anywhere. But I'm going to tell you every failure is going to lead you to something positive and to ultimately a success. I'm not defining failure. I'm not defining success for you. You get to do that. I'm using these broad terms that you can apply to your life so that you can start thinking about what you want and how to get there. So phenomenal. Most of the time, clients start therapy, and because something is going wrong, they start calling. Hey, can I talk about this? I find myself in these kind of relationships. I find myself in this rut. I find myself experiencing anxiety, depression, whatever other diagnosis that they are wondering about. They start seeing problems, and the problems become insurmountable where they're no longer manageable, but instead, what they are is interrupting their daily function. It tends to be more on their mind. They tend to feel it more in their body, and it tends to interrupt how they see their future playing out. So I love that. I love that. When people come and say, hey, I want to tell you about my boyfriend, and my boyfriend broke up with me, and I'm really curious why I feel devastated. We were together for about 3 months. As a therapist, on this side of the screen, as a telehealth therapist, I am automatically wondering, it's not about the boyfriend. It's not about this breakup. It's about the attachment that this person had to this other significant person. And this significant person drops out, and then the devastation. Why the devastation? Why did the event of the breakup create an emotional response that's greater than the actual breakup? Because now I know, as a clinician, this event with the emotional outpouring that it has means more than just the breakup. This is the false bottom. The false bottom is what you came to therapy for. But once we take away this false bottom, we start being able to see all the times that you've been, say, left, all the times you've been rejected, all the times that somebody's let you down, all the times maybe you felt betrayed. And now we get to string along this pattern of relationships that you've already been a part of. That actually, when your boyfriend broke up with you, created this devastation. Not it was a great 3 months, had a great time, really learned a lot about myself, learned a lot about what I didn't need, what I didn't want. And now I get to create another relationship in my future at some point with somebody else who's a better fit for me. No, this person came in devastated, and using that word devastated, which means their world is crumbling and falling apart. And so I get to get into that mess. They may think this is the only mess I want to talk about is this breakup and how I'm feeling right now. And I'm going to say, well, actually, it's not just about this breakup. Again, it's about all these other people in your life that you have lived that have let you down. And so then we get to pull apart one by one. I get to look at the bowl of spaghetti. That's what I always, the analogy I use is it's a bowl of spaghetti. And inside that spaghetti is nuts and bolts and hidden things. And I'm going to pull on one noodle and it's going to tug at another one. And I'm going to pull at this noodle and it's going to tug at another one. And I'm going to see, actually, this is the easier noodle to pull out from the dish, but this one feels stuck. So we're either going to be super gentle with this one to see what it's tugging and what its complexity is that's keeping it in the bowl. Or I'm going to pull apart some other noodle, knowing that if I pull another noodle over here, it's going to loosen this guy and I'm going to go bing, bing. Sometimes as women, we end up letting our jewelry all clump together in a jewelry box. I know I'm so guilty of this, and then I just don't wear it. But if I take this hunk of jewelry out and it's earrings and necklaces and bracelets and sometimes even random like bobby pins for my hair, I start pulling it apart. And if I take the time to pull it apart, I actually now make all those pieces of jewelry, all those hunks of metal that is a clump, I now make them usable. I can now wear them, or I can choose to get rid of them. That's what we're doing when we actually take out the false bottom and we start being curious about what else is going on in your life. That false bottom, if you believe that is bottom, I am here to tell you that it's not. It's not. Because that false bottom is creating inside of you some reaction within your body and within your brain that's telling you, I don't want to go below. I don't want to look at when this has happened again. And you start feeling this avoidance, or you start blaming. It's actually his problem. He was the jerk. That may be true 100%. But then my question for you is, you fell for him. Why'd you fall for him? And this is what we get to start pulling apart as we tug at these pieces of jewelry or noodles. And as we tug, we start seeing if that is not your bottom, that's just why you got the therapy, but that's not the bottom. Let's look at what's below. What kind of relationship did you witness between your parents? What kind of adults were you around when you were growing up? And I'm not talking like all your growing up. I'm talking about probably 0 to 5 years old. What kind of love did you witness? What kind of relational patterns did you witness? What kind of conversations did you witness? Were you allowed to talk about your feelings as a child? Were you not? Were you told to only do certain things? Were you restricted? Was there no connection? And you just felt like you were flailing, maybe an absent parent. And so there are all these different patterns that we get to look at while we try to make sense of the mess. And we pull apart these things slowly so that it can get better. But I need you to look at your false bottom and I need you to challenge it as it's not a false bottom, it's a bottom. I promise. But there's something underneath. Don't be afraid of it. That's where the answers lie. And when you start focusing only on the here and the now, it may be true that if you brought yourself some relief in the here and the now, you may be able to go on with your daily function. But I'm going to tell you right now, 100%, this is going to happen again and again and again. And whether you start therapy when you're 25 or 35 or 55, it will happen again and again unless you start looking at what is underneath that false bottom. What is underneath that bottom that's leaking through and seeping up, because that false bottom is going to happen again and again and again. And as therapists, we are trained, we are actually honing in on patterns. You don't see the pattern because you're in the here and the now. But we are above the here and the now, and we're wondering what happened 10 years ago? What happened in that first marriage? What happened with your parents? What happened with that first boyfriend, girlfriend? We want to know these things. We want to know how it's playing out, maybe with your coworkers. Maybe it's playing out with your children. Maybe it's playing out with friends, neighbors. Maybe there are things that you are wearing yourself that you just don't appreciate and aren't working for you. And I'm going to tell you that they're not working for you. If you think they're not working for you, they're not working for you. Please listen to yourself. So many times we minimize what we're going through. And I want to say, don't minimize it. Really pay attention to what you're believing about yourself, and then get yourself someplace in somebody's office or on a screen with a therapist who really is dedicated to walking through this journey of self discovery with you. When you discover you, I promise, when you make sense of you, I promise that you will start seeing all the things that you can do to work yourself out of this false bottom that keeps happening over and over and over again. And when that does, you're going to look at yourself in the mirror and you're going to be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I did this for how many years? How many years did I pick up alcohol? How many years did I avoid my issues by getting into other relationships? How many years did I waste time in dead end jobs? How many years did I do this? And sometimes I might say, years. You have done for years. But now we've got so much more to go. And how exciting is this? My favorite thing to hear my clients say to me is, I noticed I did something different and I am so proud of myself. As a clinician, I know that is when the narrative in the brain has started to change. And these false bottoms that happen, they understand what it's about. They say, it's just a moment. I know what I normally do, but now I'm choosing something different. And then this didn't take over my life. And guess what? I am proud of me. I love when clients share that with me. And so as I am talking about the mess, please know we're talking about the mess because we don't talk about the mess. We only talk about how to fix it. I don't want to fix it. I want to journey with you in it. So you understand piece by piece how all these little things came together to make you you today. And then as we look at that, how can you now empower yourself to choose and to do better for you? It's not based on me. It's not based on anybody else, but you need to look in the mirror and you need to say, I adore you. I love you. And I am so, so, so proud of you. I can't wait until you look in the mirror and you say that to yourself with calm, with clarity, with peace, with a fact that you actually believe it. So welcome. The messier is going to get better. The messier becomes better. It doesn't become better when we ignore it. No, no, no. It becomes better when we actually deal with it and pull it apart and look at it and not be afraid. If you have any questions or comments on you looking at your mess, what maybe you feel like you don't want to look at, please comment below. Subscribe and like this video. I cannot wait to share with you a little bit more every single podcast as we look at ways for you to take a look at it. Today, I want you to look at patterns. Today, I want you to choose one thing. Maybe it's jobs. Maybe it's relationships. Maybe it's communication. Maybe it's the way you think about yourself. And start looking at a pattern and start saying, if I did this today, when else have I done this? And start writing down evidence of all the other times that you've done this. And let's see where that goes. This is when you get to start to change. And I'm so excited to be here with you. Thank you for joining me. The messier, the better. Rebecca Mueller, licensed marriage and family therapist, excited to be on this journey with you. Have yourself a great day.